There are so many steps between you're not feeling well and surgery or medication. And in fact, before you even start feeling poorly, there's a bunch of steps that can prevent you from ever getting there in the first place. So that's kind of where I'm hoping medicine goes in the future. You see,
We'll keep pushing, right?
we're going to make
Keep
America
innovating.
healthy again for sure.
Welcome to VNEW Voices, the podcast where we explore the cutting-edge innovations that are reshaping patient care and healthcare practices. I'm your host, Robert Greer, and I'm excited to have here today as we dive into the future of colorectal care. Today's episode, we're joined by my good friend, Dr. Anna Toker.
Hello,
So,
Rob.
she's a leading colorectal surgeon who's been integrating groundbreaking technologies into her practice to optimize her patient outcomes. So, Dr. Toker,
Yes.
talk to me about this, our sponsor today, which is Zive 7. What is happening at this
Yeah.
moment while we're
First of all,
while we're sitting there talking gut health?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me, Rob. It's always a pleasure to come talk to you. Zive 7 is a digestive product that I helped create with the partners at PFC3, which is the company that owns the formula for Zive 7. Mark McDonald is a nutritionist worldwide, world-renowned, and it is his base formula that we kind of tinkered with to create Zive 7. It's a very unique product because it addresses multiple aspects of the digestive process to improve digestive health. So many of us have very poor gut health. The food quality is very poor. Our bodies aren't accustomed to that level of inflammation. And so this product is designed really to help with digestive function. If you've got IBS, especially gas bloat type situations, then you'll find it extremely, extremely helpful. So we just launched. We're on TikTok and Amazon store and those kinds of things. And it's a growing phenomenon at the moment.
Throughout 3 initials that everybody
Maybe not know.
references.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's that IBS,
Yes.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So when someone says, I think I have IBS, right? What's going on with their body and how is it behaving? And then follow-up question is, how can Zive 7 help those patients that are experiencing IBS?
Yeah. So IBS is a catchphrase saying it means the patient is struggling with some form of discomfort. IBS stands for Irritable Bowel Syndrome. Instead of IBD, which is Inflammatory Bowel Disease. And so you don't want to kind of mix up those two terms. So IBS is a catchphrase, Irritable Bowel Syndrome. The guts are not happy. These people will eat something, they'll get bloated. They may have constipation. They may have diarrhea. It may alternate. How do we know that a person has IBS? Honestly, it's a huge workup because we're ruling out things like an autoimmune disease or an ulcer or cancer. So after this long workup, if everything else is normal, we don't really want to tell the patients there's nothing wrong with you because you clearly have a symptom. We just don't have an operation to offer. There's not a lot of good medicines to offer. It's more of a dietary concern. What Zive 7 can do is a number of things. It coordinates the upper and the lower digestive tract, which has a tendency to improve this cramping scenario that some of these patients will have. There are some muscle relaxation, what they call carnative effects. It keeps things from wanting to squeeze real tight. Anybody who has IBS kind of knows the sensation I'm talking about. They'll feel bloated and very tight and intermittently with these like tight squeezes. And so there's herbal supplements in there that minimize those symptoms. There are digestive enzymes in there as well, which help you break down your food. And this way you absorb all the nutrients before bacteria can come in and ferment the food. So unprocessed food ferments in your gut, sort of like, I hate to use the
And
word.
then what happens there?
Well, it comes kind of like it's an open sewer. I don't want to say open sewer out loud because that's very distasteful, but that is what's happening. When you feed the bacteria first, you wind up getting a lot of methane gas, and methane gas causes horrible gas bloat. And not only that, can slow down the slow intestine and can speed up the large intestine. So they'll get this bizarre crampy pain, but maybe they're constipated, or crampy pain, and then there's constipation, then all of a sudden explosive diarrhea. And so methane gas causes a lot of that. So if you cannot process your food properly, you don't have enough digestive enzymes, you're not coordinating body parts well enough, then you'll get bacterial overgrowth, which leads to that gas, bloat, crampy pain scenario.
So if you're gassy,
Yes.
right,
Yes.
which,
Yes.
every spouse, significant other, brother, sister, whatever family, right? We're kind of like in that Thanksgiving
Yes.
role.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Give your partner some Zive 7, right?
Some Zive 7. Yes.
That can help with that.
Can't help with that. Yes, there are 3 different types of gas bloat that people will complain about. One of them is right when they wake up in the morning, and that's air they're swallowing. That's when you ask the spouse, do I snore at night? Because people who snore will wake up sometimes with a lot of gas bloat. Some people will get gas bloat kind of as the day goes on, like the beginning of the day, they're fine. And then they'll say, man, I feel like I'm pregnant by the end of the day. That a lot of times is inflammatory because of the types of foods we're eating. And then there's a third kind, I eat and I immediately get gas bloat. The eat and immediately get gas bloat is usually a bacterial overgrowth, kind of methane gas response to not properly digesting your foods. So Zive 7 can help the bloat as the day goes on, and it can help the I eat and immediate bloat, but it's not going to help your sleep apnea, your snoring, and the swallowing of air. So that's why it's a good idea to know kind of, when do you feel the gas
Right.
bloat?
Which one are you experiencing? Right.
Correct. Yes.
So, we're going to break down the gas
Break it
here
down.
on the show.
Yeah. Again, it's not, and I don't want people to think, oh, I have a gas cramp, I'll take a Zive 7, because that's not how it works. This is more of a preventative medication as opposed to a response to a symptom. So you want to take this supplement right before a meal, somewhere around 10 minutes before you eat a meal. What it's going to do is help your body break down those nutrients. That way you can absorb things better, so you're less likely to get this gas bloat scenario. If you wait until you've already eaten or you already have the gas bloat, not so sure it's going to help you in that way. It will to a mild point, so because there are some herbal supplements in there that will relax that crampy a little bit, but it's not nearly going to be as effective if you take it after a meal. You want to take it before a meal, and preferably 1 to 2 before each meal. Some people will only need to take it before their biggest meal. Some people just want to take it early in the morning to start their day properly. And everyone has to kind of play it by ear. We have a protocol online at shopzive.com. And what patients and clients will see if they go to that will be a protocol they can download, and just kind of tells them, hey, drink your water. You're going to take 2 Zive in the morning before breakfast, about 10 minutes beforehand. Pay attention as the day goes on. You may need 1 or 2 before other meals. Get some walking in, and then we give some advice on what a clean diet is, how to chew your food better. Those things also help the digestive process.
You just got to get in front of the digestive cycle, right? And
Correct.
that's why
It's a preventative. When it comes to your digestive health, you prevent. You cannot. And don't get me started. I'm gonna go on a tirade here in just a minute. But the problem with Western medicine in general, the allopathic medicine, where we prescribe pills to people, big
a lot of
pharma
patches.
pills. Yeah, well, so the
Not
problem is
not super patches, but just
no.
a lot of Band-Aids.
Yeah, it's reactive. We're waiting for you to have a problem, and then we're trying to throw medications at it. And the problem is every oral ingested substance is going to have a collateral change to your body. So now you're chasing all these symptoms around. So in an ideal world, instead of having a cliff that you fall off and the ambulance down here to cart you away, you kind of want a guardrail at the top of the cliff so you don't fall off. So you want to preemptively improve your digestive system before you have a calamity. It is important that I say, because here I am a surgeon, I do a lot of colon cancer surgery, you do want to see your doctor. I'm not here to bash physicians. I am a board certified surgeon. But once you've ruled out life-threatening illness, it's extremely important for you to understand that now it is your environment and the way your body responds to that environment that's leading to your symptoms. So we have to change those things, right? So your body didn't fail. Your body is confused. We just need to make sure you don't have cancer before we go chasing down the change your diet and add this supplement and whatnot, right? So it is important for everyone to understand that you do want to start from a baseline of, I don't have a life-threatening illness. Okay, now how am I going to make my life better? And then fix things. Does that make sense?
It does.
I
It
hope I
does.
didn't
And one of
ramp.
the things that in working with you over the years,
Uh,
you're all about pre-surgery, post-surgery, right? And
yes,
what
huge.
are these? Because we have a lot of women that have watched the
Yes,
program and they're considering surgery for pelvic organ prolapse. Of
sure.
course, that also has some comorbidities that they deal with
Yes,
their colon, right? Because you
yes,
deal
yes,
with that
yes,
with your urologist that you partner with
yes.
to take care of the
Pelvic
entire
floor. Mm-hmm.
ecosystem.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, if you're going to be going to surgery,
Mm-hmm.
and how should this patient behave so that
Yes,
they have the best chance of having a really good outcome?
right. That's actually important. And probably the difference in my practice compared to other surgeons is this conversation. When you operate on someone, you are creating an injury, for lack of better words. A predictable one. So, like, it may feel like you got hit by a bus. I didn't actually hit you with a bus. It was a very distinct injury. Your body has to heal this injury by being relaxed, by getting good sleep, by having enough protein in your life, being hydrated. To form scar tissue, healing tissue, to reconstruct the tissue, you have to have vitamin C, you have to have hyaluronic acid, collagen. I want patients to get these things from a whole food source instead of waiting until you don't heal properly and then trying to fix the problem on the back end. So proper nutrition, good rest is the answer to that.
So you've got that conversation with them prior to. Think you also prescribe different. Prior to Zive 7, you had like 5 different formulations, right? Go get this, go get this, go get this. This is put them all together, and these are what you need, right? So now, what is your strategy? How do you coach them? What are they? You kind of laid out a couple of different things. The protein, I assume the Zive 7, and then what else is that?
Yes. So what we want to do is this from a nutrition standpoint, hydration, protein, get a whole food vitamin supplementation, not an artificial one. Number two, I don't write for any narcotics because people who take narcotics have worse outcomes. I try to minimize the prescriptions, to be honest with you. When you are eating properly, you're absorbing your nutrients properly, you can heal better. I'm doing intestinal surgery, so I want your gut in optimal condition. This is one of the reasons I agreed to partner with Mark McDonald on Zive 7. But it's also how, speaking of another topic, there's a product called a super patch. This is a piece of technology. It's not a medication. There's no medicine in it. There's no contraindication to taking it. And the use of this externally applied, for lack of better words, physical therapy patch can improve pain when you use their freedom patch, can improve your sleep when you use their REM patch, can reduce your stress when you use a peace patch. And then there's one that helps balance called the Liberty patch. I use all of those in conjunction to normalize autonomic nervous system homeostasis without using any medications. So in this way, we take the stress of an operation and we can improve the patient's outcome neurologically in addition to physically by using some of these other things.
And it's like this little packet, right? Little packet. This is the Liberty patch. This is the one for balance. And I think you're also, with this particular patch, you're looking at, you've got a upcoming study that is going to be kicking off here soon. So walk us through what you're trying to do with that.
I will. So the Liberty Patch actually has two basic functions. The first is autonomic nervous system homeostasis. When that technology touches your skin, it sends a signal to your brain to correct the autonomic nervous system back to a normal baseline. In intestinal surgery, that includes the vagus nerve, which is responsible for intestinal motility to help patients with gut function. So that's going to help us with gut function. But to get to the brain, it actually goes up through the balance column of the spinal cord and improves patients' balance. That, it sounds hokey, but 10,000 people a year will fall out of a hospital bed and injure themselves to the point of like severe injury and even death. There's probably 1 million people who fall in the course of a year under the guidance of a physician is overseeing this, nursing home, rehab, hospital. They'll fall. 100,000 of those people will injure themselves. 10,000 of those people will permanently injure themselves or even die. So falling is a big issue. When you have a patient after surgery, they're on a narcotic pain medicine. They might be on a sleep medicine or a sedative. They're in a strange place and they are already hurting. And so they're tied to stuff, Foley catheter, IVs. And if they have to use the restroom, they are a setup for falling in a hospital setting. So the hopes or the concept is if a Liberty Patch improves your balance at home, and there are studies that show that, I would like to use this in the postoperative setting in a hospital, in someone that we're not going to give them pain medicines to, we're not going to give them sleep medicines to, we're going to use non-medicated technology like a super patch to see if that improves their fall risk in the hospital. And there's nothing you can do right now to prevent a patient from falling. So this would be the first ever proactive thing that you could do for someone to prevent a fall. And even if it only prevents 10% of falls, you're saving 1,000 lives a year in America alone. So it is definitely a venture worth studying. And we are about to get that IRB approval. We'll start that hopefully sometime soon.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
It's exciting for
It'll be interesting.
for
See what happens.
the
Yeah.
patients. Yeah. And to your point, even if it's a small percentage, when you look at it globally and across the United States,
Correct.
it's huge.
Huge.
It's absolutely massive. And then of course, hospitals would want it. Why?
Yes.
Because it's expensive when people fall.
Yes.
When it's on their watch, and all of a sudden the woman that came in for your colorectal surgery, but now she just broke her hip.
Right.
Where's she going to go now? Now she's going to go up to now she's going to go down to the OR.
Right.
Then she's going to go up to
up
to another floor. I mean, it's and then of course, who knows what happens at that point? But it's very difficult to.
It not only increases the risk of complication for the person who had the fall, but no insurance company is going to pay for injuries sustained during a hospital stay for something else, which means the hospital makes everyone pay for it. So everyone's hospital bill, about $7,000 or $8,000 per patient, no matter what you're there for, is going into a little bucket for everyone who falls out of a bed. So, it behooves every single one of us who pays money into the system to try to save some of that money, not to mention life and limb, but there's money to be saved. These patches cost less than $2 a piece, basically, when you buy in bulk. So for $2 a day to save someone $8,000 on a hospital stay overall, or their life, or $30,000 for a hip replacement, or whatever the case may be, I mean, it's kind of, honestly, sort of a no-brainer. So we'll see what the research shows. We publish it no matter what the result is. The research from home looks good, but you never know until you put it into play. A hospital is a very unique playground. There's a lot of stuff going on, so it may not work as effectively. It may work more effectively, and we really don't know that answer until we kind of throw up. It's a double-blinded, placebo-controlled trial, but it's human science, so you got to go through a huge IRB board, collaboration to make sure
Certification, right. So that
so that there's no safety issue for the patient. There's no medicine in these patches, so there's really no risk to the patient. So we just have to prove that in the authorization of the study. And that's almost done. We're almost done with that part. So
So,
it's
so that's exciting, and
yeah.
it's exciting that a product that
Yeah.
on its own, on merits, it's doing fantastic,
Yes.
but the ownership of the company and the leadership of the company wants to
Yes.
reinvest and provide clinical data to be able to
Yeah.
support the what people are talking about, and
Right.
if we say super patch, we'll get like 10,000 hits
There's a lot of people
on
interested
just
in
this
the technology.
conversation.
It's not really, we did not get this from aliens, to my knowledge. The only person who knows how they truly were created is the engineer who invented it. There are a lot of doctors like me that would love to be able to get away from harmful medications. We woefully overprescribe right now. Physicians are kind of all retiring. We're being replaced with AI and ancillary personnel. And when you don't have as much training, you have a tendency to use protocols. And every one of those protocols ends in a damn prescription. Every single one of those things ends in a prescription. And yet that's should be the last thing we reach for. So I'm a very strong advocate for medicine when it's required. I am a surgeon. Obviously, I operate on people. You're going to need surgery. But there are so many steps before you get to a medication and operation. And so my goal, my last 5 years of my practice has been preach to anyone who will listen. There are so many steps between you're not feeling well and surgery or medication. And in fact, before you even start feeling poorly, there's a bunch of steps that can prevent you from ever getting there in the first place. So that's kind of where I'm hoping medicine goes in the future. You see,
We'll keep pushing, right?
we're going to make
Keep
America
innovating.
healthy again for sure.
That's right. That's right. So looking ahead, let's talk about Zive 7. I think in conversations with Mark and what you're working on, what's coming down the pipeline.
Well, I think Zive 7 is the first of a lot of products that he wants to create. So the second product that's in the pipeline right now, hopefully will come out soon, will be an electrolyte solution that also helps with mitochondrial health. So it'll be a caffeine-free, sugar-free, but without artificial sweeteners in it. It's all natural things with electrolytes that improve gut health, mitochondrial health, and also as a rehydration thing for people who work outside or go work out. You don't need energy drinks before a workout. That's probably like the worst thing that you can do. I know it helps you feel like all rah-rah in the gym, but there are healthier ways to do it. So, and mitochondrial health is such a big it's a big push right now. So our upcoming product will help support gut health like the Zive 7. So it's a perfect partner to that, but then also expands for neurologic health and mitochondrial health. So that's one of the big things coming up.
And then from a super patch, what's happening in that arena?
In the super patch world. So in the super patch world, we have, every year there is an annual meeting. This company is very new. They are probably, I want to say 2 years old or younger as far as the patch is concerned. And they're already 100 million units sold per year throughout the world. And so it's become a huge product worldwide. And why? Because there's no medicines in it. There's no contraindication. Their international meeting takes place once a year. This year it will be in Orlando, Florida. And as per usual, I do sit on the medical board for that company and I do give speeches for that company. Usually they're quite short. This year, it is a 45-minute speech, and we're going to talk truly about the nuts and bolts of how those patches work. It's not magic and it's not placebo, and there's a true biologic reason it works. It is based on Nobel Prize winning science. And it's very hard to put that into lay person terms because it's the brain. It's like brain surgery, like it's complicated. So I am going to kind of give a lecture that's got edutainment in regards to how the patch works and then how we use that in clinical practice. And while I love everyone having access to it, these are over the counter. I also love the concept of doctors and hospitals having it available as well. and maybe even getting insurance companies to consider it an in-network sort of a supplementation. And so that's kind of where super patch people are going. And I'm truly hoping, because super patch people and Zive people are friends, and they do naturally sort of go together. So I'm hoping to bridge that gap and get them to do some collaborative meetings and educations in the future. So we're kind of hoping to do that.
Because they're all connected one way or another.
Yeah, we all have the same mission, right? We want to make people healthy in a safe way possible, in a preventive way possible, and one that does not require extraordinarily expensive, complex, and with complication type medications. I mean, that's just the thing. I don't want people spending all of their, and I have patients, they spend all of their spare change on medicine, and half of them are not even required. They're like, to control the symptoms of another medicine. It's like, come on, people. So like that has got to stop, and that's my big push.
Noble it is, and it certainly is better for the world, and so that's why
It gets you pushed off of social media quite a bit. I'm a little bit of a renegade. Sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm not. It just kind of depends. So it depends on what I say. So I'm hoping the world gets a little bit more friendly toward. There's a lot of doctors like me, and the problem is they don't want to say something in public because political forces in the medical world are not actual doctors. They're pharmacy-driven people. And like the AMA, I mean, I'm just going to throw it out there. No self-respecting doctor belongs to the AMA, but they're owned by the pharmaceutical industry, and they push stupid stuff. And the second a regular doctor says, I don't think I want to do it that way, there's better ways of doing this, we don't need to do that, that they will threaten your license, your practice, your reputation, and I'm towards the end of my practicing years, so it's very hard to ruin my reputation.
You can take more risks. Good luck.
My patients love me. So it's like, I feel like I have I've got more wick to burn than the average doctor. And I'm almost retired. So what the hell? I'm throwing it out there, and I've got the years of experience to sort of back me up. And if the political types don't like me too much, I mean, they can stifle my voice, and they have. But if they take away my license, more time for me on the farm with my husband, it's okay.
I don't think they're going to do that. You have more.
I don't think they will.
Patience.
You
have more
I try to stay
patience.
away from lightning rods. There are certain topics I would love to talk about, but I never do. So, keep myself safe.
We'll see what happens in a year or so, right? If you can,
I'm hoping. I'm very hopeful in the next few months.
For me, it's trying to our audience is bring innovation, bring new technology that is, not hindered by, a protocol of this is what you're supposed to do, right? You've got to kind of break through that ceiling, be disruptive. That's why we enjoy working with each other, because we can be disruptive in the space and be innovative.
Your audience should know the human body is beautifully made and capable of a lot. And it can seem overwhelming when people talk about the environment, toxins this and toxins that. I hear patients tell me that all the time. However, that you can, when doing things properly, you can heal these things if you give it time. It's one of the reasons you and I met in the first place. I like to use natural products, things that your body can work with, things that can help you heal naturally from the inside out. And so the digestive product of Zive 7 helps do that. The technology of Super Patch also helps do that in a very, very different way. And so that your body can handle it. It's just you have to start one step at a time, and eventually it gets there.
Well, it's pretty interesting because we met at a luncheon for people that I was going to be discussing.
You weren't even there to see me. I'm kind of offended.
I was not even there to see you. You were. I didn't even. It was your assistant.
Yes, at USMD.
It was your assistant coming in, and so I, it's some intervention that said, hey, you're going to be there on this day. You're not in the OR, and you've got to, medical assistant that
Yes.
is looking out for your best interest, right?
Right.
And just coming back and saying, "Hey, what do you guys do?"
Yeah. So
And
like
then
that.
we went from there.
Yeah, we've written
So,
papers
so
together and described procedures together. So yeah.
Dr. Toker, we're coming at the bottom of the hour. I want to really thank you once again for your expertise, your insights about Zive 7, Super Patch, and really how it impacts your practice and improves your patient's recovery. It's really clear that this innovative solutions are making a difference, and I'm excited to see how they continue to be shaped in the future of your practice in colorectal health. So, Dr. Toker, you have Instagram, you've got some LinkedIn. I want to share this with our audience. I follow you. You are definitely edutainment. How can they follow you on your Instagram?
We are on Instagram, Facebook, X, TikTok, YouTube, and Rumble at Dr. Anna Toker. And so you can follow me there. My website is drannatoker.com. And in there, you can sign up for a free newsletter, which sort of gives you kind of the summary for the last couple of weeks, our most popular posts, things that I might find interesting, announcements that are coming up, and if we have any kind of good information on Zive 7 or Super Patch, those sorts of things.
And of course, through your website, if they are going to be going into surgery, I think you've got some things that they can download. If their
Correct.
physician isn't as innovative as you are, they still want to do these things.
Correct.
So they
Yes,
can
if you
download that program. Right?
right. So there's a couple things that I would suggest. Number one, if you're just going to have like a colonoscopy, you just need information under my office. Like when you sign on to drannatoker.com, one of the first links will be to office patients. That's my official office website, which will give you basic information on my surgery recovery protocols, colonoscopy protocols. If patients want more of a deep dive on gut health, I have an online program called Gut Check. Right now, it's a pretty big program. I'm turning it into a subscription model. We will launch that subscription model in January. So if you sign up for our free newsletter online, we will start advertising that on our free newsletter. Let everyone know when we do that for less than the cost of a modern coffee. And I think it is definitely worth a $5 or $6 investment. So.
Okay. Well, I'm excited to be able to see that. Thank you for sharing,
Sure.
and thanks for being on the program.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thanks for asking.